Welcome back, Johtonians, to the JOHTO Press. In the last week, we have been revealed new Pokemon and new abilities. Now before we get started, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now let's take a look and break down some of the newly revealed Pocket Monsters. First we have Bounsweet, the fruit Pokemon. It is a grass type with access to the abilities Leaf Guard and Oblivious. Bounsweet shares a great deal of the same aesthetic qualities with Cherubi and its evolutionary line. It is said to exude a delicious smell which causes other Pokemon to swallow them whole. People of the Alola region use Bounsweet as a form of air freshener for their homes. The inspiration for Bounsweet seems to stem from the mangosteen, a native Hawaiian fruit. In some of the folklore and stories surrounding the fruit, there are claims that the mangosteen had some connections to Queen Victoria and how she supposedly offered world travelers rewards for the export of the fruit. Written accounts document that Queen Victoria was introduced to the fruit by a world traveler. She instantly fell in love with the fruit. These written accounts also claim that among the many fruit that travelers had tasted, that the mangosteen was the queen or king of all fruit. Although many of these accounts lack enough historical evidence to hold legitimacy, the overly popular stories of the mangosteen and Queen Victoria may inform us about a potential evolutionary look. Perhaps Bounsweet will evolve and lose its protective pink shell to reveal its white fruit that will resemble a royal-like ball gown dress, in similar fashion of Blossom's and Magearna's bottom torsos. One other interesting fact is that it drives off enemies by rotating the calyx on its head, which is the green leafy portion that is found on most fruit when picked off from its stem. It is possible that this leafy calyx may turn into a crown of sorts to complete Bounsweet's royalty-like gown look. Moving on to the dangerously cuddling Pokemon, we have Bewear, of course. Bewear is a strong-arm Pokemon. Its typing is normal fighting. It will gain access to the abilities Klutz and Fluffy. The Fluffy ability reduces damage by half when attacks make contact. However, it also doubles the damage of fire-type moves taken. In looking for native animals of Hawaii, the bear, which Bewear resembles, is not an animal generally found in tropical areas. A source of inspiration for Bewear might actually be the California bear. I say this because of its Fluffy ability, in how it receives double the damage from fire moves. In Southern California, especially during the summer, the state is prone to forest fires, which decimates the environment and many times the wildlife in the area, like bears. Because of Bewear's description of not being aware of its own strength, its attack stat most definitely will be off the charts. Next, we have Comfey, the Posy Picker Pokemon. It is a fairy-lay Pokemon that emits a soothing fragrance which gives rings of flowers to those it's fond of. I find Comfey to be similar to Klefki in design. It has the abilities Flower Veil and Triage. The Triage ability is super interesting when it comes to how it could possibly see competitive play. The ability makes restorative moves gain the highest priority in battle. If Comfey's base stats are spread within HP, defense, and special defense, I can see it becoming a great supportive wall that can help heal other Pokemon with moves like Wish and Heal Post. This is still speculation, but I am hoping that this fairy type gets some spotlight in competitive battling. The design is so fitting to the Alola region and gets inspiration of the traditional Hawaiian lei, which are supposed to represent a hug that encircles you all day long. Furthermore, different colored arrangements have meanings that range from love, appreciation, admiration, friendship, loyalty, and so forth. Next, we have Mudsdale, the Draft Course Pokemon. It is a ground type with the access to abilities On Tempo, which prevents it from being confused, and a new ability known as Stamina, which raises defense by one stage every time it is attacked. It is described as having emotional fortitude and defeating opponents with a single powerful blow. The legs are also coated in protective mud that increases the force of its attack. The inspiration for Mudsdale comes from wild Hawaiian horses most present in the Big Islands. Furthermore, the protective mud coating is inspired by Clydesdale, horses that are identified by their feathered leg. With all that said, speculating its competitive use, I can see Mudsdale being a defensive and offensive Pokemon. If the base stats are right, combining its stamina ability with a high defense base stat could make Mudsdale a force to be reckoned with. The ground typing could give it access to Earthquake and Stone Edge, which are powerful physical moves. Next, we have the mysterious yet lovable Mimikyu, who sports a worn-out Pikachu doll as a disguise. It is the first ghost and fairy type Pokemon with a new ability known as Disguise, of course. The Disguise ability allows its disguise to serve as a decoy. Once it is attacked, the decoy breaks, negating the damage it would have received from that attack. Mimikyu uses the Pikachu disguise as a way to make friends with humans, although many warn that if a human were to see a Mimikyu without its disguise, that they would be cursed. After looking into potential inspirations for Mimikyu, the closest thing that I could find are the Night Marchers, who are ghosts of ancient warriors who usually appear in long ago battlefields. In Hawaiian folklore, the Night Marchers are seen in groups, and making eye contact with one of these spirits should be avoided at all costs, because one could become cursed or taken away and never heard of again. Competitively, Mimikyu's disguise ability could be used alongside an item like Focus Sash to give it battle longevity. Although it is still unsure if it will evolve, if the ability does not change, I can see it using moves like Toxic, Reflect, and Hex to weather down teams. Lastly, we have Wimpod, which is a bug and water type. It has a new ability known as Wimp Out that allows it to flee from a wild battle or switch out when its HP goes below 50%. It has a cowardly nature and spits out poisonous liquid when threatened. Because of how it is described, there's a likelihood that if Wimpod evolves, it will gain the poison typing. Competitively, its Wimp Out ability could be useful when scouting out an opponent's Pokemon strength and move pool. As for inspiration, the only thing that I could connect Wimpod is to the extinct Trilobite, but highly doubt that this Wimpod is the fossil Pokemon of the Alola region. Again, Johtonians, thanks for watching, and be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to watch more cool content, and a share always helps. Don't be greedy, share the Johto news.